So today I decided it was time to come in and paint. The way I paint is all intuitive painting, so I'm going to show you a little bit about how I do that. So the images are just basically shapes that I go get in the paint that I have laid down, and it's all very intuitive. I see something I like, I just go and I get it and I highlight it and eventually link these shapes together or add more paint and more depth and so on. So at times it takes a few layers. If you go around the canvas, I end up with pictures that, I have to wonder where they come from myself. A lot of faces, a lot of images of people coming together, and it's very consistent with respect to the connection and the emotion that goes with how the people seem to be feeling in the paintings. And when you look at them closely and from a distance, you get a different perspective of what the painting is all about. My paintings always start with a mess, and that is just my way of warming up on the canvas and also just sort of letting everybody know that is working on this painting that, we're not afraid of what's on there. We're going to find something that is interesting here. So it opens it up, and the pressure comes off. So, a lot of people say, oh, I couldn't do that. I'm too much of a perfectionist. And the thing I say to that is there is plenty of room for perfectionism when you paint like this. It doesn't start out perfect, but boys, when you narrow in on the vision of that painting, it becomes very perfect. I'm already starting to see shapes, in there that are kind of interesting, but you don't want to fall in love with these shapes at this stage. There's nothing here that is worth preserving right now. There's not enough paint on the canvas. It would make a pretty shallow painting. So here we're just building up, and we want the colors to remain. They can blend around the edges and so on, but you don't want like everything to be one big gray mess. So you respect the lines, and you kind of bring in different colors, and you can have it interact like that. Because these are the things that surprise you at the end of a painting. Like you start painting and then you kind of scratch away, and this beautiful color that you laid initially just comes back to show you a totally different perspective and completely unexpected, So these are the surprises that you get from having, working with a lot of colors and, and as well as shapes and kinds of lines. And so you want to do some really cool stuff like that, right? To look at the painting from different directions. You see what you have there already, and what potentially could capture my eye here. I can see some movement in here that I really, really like. So it's it's going to be a toss-up where I choose to go with this one, but I'll still rotate every angle of this painting as I work through it. And when I find something really interesting, it doesn't matter if it's the direction I was working on, I'll pick that up and develop it to see where it takes me. You have to sacrifice a lot of things at times. You have to know when to do it. For me, there are things that I just can't let go. I have to keep them in there. So they guide me in a certain direction. This is also very interesting. The shape of this and the movement going up like that, it's very different. And again, this is an angle that I could pick up and go in a different direction. So it's kind of interesting. It's like working a puzzle. If you like to do puzzles, And as you can see, I haven't done anything that's difficult to do here. I've just put paint on here. I've just let myself enjoy the color, and I didn't question, I just played with it. And you can always fix this, which is nice, you know, you keep developing it. And if you did something you don't like, you can always paint over it. All of those little lines here is somebody sort of kneeling outside in a forest and enjoying a day in the sun. I mean, there's all kinds of different things happening in the painting, in the lines and so on. So when you look closely, you can see all of those things. And when you look from a distance, you see something different. So we're just going to explore some of these things. You'll see it, I'll show it to you here, and then you can see it in other people's work when you look at it, and to see how much depth and how much it leads your imagination, what captures your interest. It's just a way of bringing more precision to what you really enjoy in art or in a painting, or what moves you, and understanding that really helps you understand a lot of things. Move on to this angle now. Again, I see some beautiful things here. I see a lot of skiers coming down. I've got skiing on my brain, so I can see a lot of that. There are a lot of parts of faces that I see here. And I think I see faces just because it gives me something to shape around. It's a shape that I recognize. It's kind of an anchor, even though it's not belonging to a face per se, but I guess shapes that I recognize sort of anchor me in terms of developing them. And I do see a lot of flowers in there as well. So these are all things that as you do this, you'll begin to recognize the shapes that you like. This is where I really dig into the painting and go into like each line has something to offer. Like, it's just amazing to just kind of pick up on these little lines here and show off the little dents that they've embedded them around themselves, and the other colors come and surround it, and to deepen some shadows and lines. And it's also where I've left traces of colors like this terracotta that turns pink when it's diluted, but I mean, this is just a guide. The colors, as I go, I enhance and so on, and I try to find the ones that will give me just the right pop of color that I need. And it's a process, because, eventually you'll see it. And you have to learn to look at your painting in different ways, different lights, turning it around. So these are just little things along the way as you work a painting. And it really doesn't matter what it looks like. Like at this stage, I would be happy with this. Side one, I'd be happy with. This one, I'd be happy with, and probably the other ones too. And I could stop right here. As long as the painting pleases me and sort of has some meaning and some content for me, that's what you should be seeking. And you can't expect people to come in and look at this and see what you see. It's just not going to happen, because there's just so much between, the person who created this vision to the person and the different paths that we walked in life and the way we see life and all of that. That's what makes it so beautiful. It tells a different story depending on who the viewer is. So if you love it, somebody else is bound to love it. Somebody else that loves you will love it. It's and if they're brave enough to really look at your work, they'll get to know you even better. It just puts a story of you, like something very personal out there that, like nothing else can, I don't think. If I limit myself to a smaller palette, it's a lot easier, because it's a lot fewer colors to try to marry or to have, work together in the end. So this way, you keep sort of like a dirty brush. I go in, and that's how I kind of spread my colors around. So this whole mixture, I either darken the blues, or I lighten them, or I bring a little bit of creamer color. And it helps me sort of like bring another dimension and a little bit more depth to the lines where I choose to put some of this contrasting. Even if it's just a little touch, it really deepens, your painting. It looks like another layer of paint, which indeed it is, but it's giving it a lot of definition. I'm not at that stage yet where I'm really going to cut into these shapes so that they pop. But this is fun here. This is like getting in deep, and I'm doing stuff that no one would probably ever notice, but I'm seeing all kinds of things in here. And while I'm doing this, I'm thinking about all kinds of really cool things in my mind, and I'm getting all kinds of ideas, and I'm reminded of, things that I love to do, colors that I love, because I always choose some of my favorite colors in every palette, and I'm always in the turquoises are definitely my colors. They're very deep, even deeper than that blue, the white and these off-whites, and these deep terracotta colors are also, I love all colors, but anyway, so that's a little bit how the process unfolds, and I can see all kinds of juicy stuff in here that I'm going to enhance, and there will be more passes. Kind of looking back now, when I go do another pass, there'll be a lot more precision brought to the lines, and I'm going to have to sort of decide like my colors and what have you as I deepen the picture. Really, really loving where this is going. I'm really seeing some interesting things, and I kind of know where I'm going to go from here. This is the finished painting, and in terms of getting the painting here and so on, you've seen how the progress is unfolded, and how I tackle this project without really needing to know anything, but just needing to look at things differently and look at things in terms of slices and shapes that are interesting, and maybe how a color meets another color, and go investigate those things in the painting. So the more you do that, the better you get at it, and then you get to a place where you can kind of clean up a lot of the noise and maybe finish with a picture like this. Now for me, I've done a lot of these, so they hold very, very deep meanings for me, because as you can see, these are not like just fun, airy paintings that you can look at and say, oh, there you go, and identify immediately what they're saying. You really have to take the time to look at them and to see what they're actually doing, because for me, there's a lot of tension between very much like the light aspects of this painting, where it's nice, it's light, it's flowery, and it's a nice winter scene, but there's also a lot of chaos and a lot of tension and a lot of fossilized trauma that you could see in a landscape somewhere, and kind of imagine the life that has gone through there, and that today might be a very serene place, but somewhere in the past, in its history, it might have been a very traumatic place. And it comes out whether I want it to or not. Like in this one, there is that tension, and I let it stand as it is, because it's such a beautiful testament of being the participant in a scene like this, the creator of the scene, and the one being seen, like being seen and looked at in there. So it covers a lot of angles. It's kind of interesting to try to present it that way, but it's like, for me, I can be any part of that, and I look at it from a different perspective from each of these different shapes that I see in here. And as you can see, now I'm highlighting it with the sun behind it. I love to do that to most of my paintings when I'm working on them. I put them in the sun, or if I don't have sun, even a lamp. And I look at them from the back and to see where the light wants to come through, and I try to make that happen as well. So these are all guides that come from who knows where, but it gives you a different perspective that you might not see unless you have that additional light coming through. So I leave you with that. I just wanted to capture that at this stage so I don't forget and get busy and doing something else, and to wrap up this little video so I can put it out there and start working on another, because it's kind of fun to see them come together myself at the end of it and see how much they've changed and how what I visited through it. Because it was very light and fun initially. I was seeing skiers. I had a great time. I skied in there. I hiked. I climbed up around here. I saw all this beauty from the side, these old tree trunks. I mean, really, I can't think of a better way to spend, hours. So that's just me. Have a great day.